Data types is an important aspect of data in general. Now, whether you're working in Tableau, Power BI, SQL, Python, MATLAB, etc., allocating the right data type is crucial. So, by analogy, it's like trying to hammer a nail in using a carton of milk, right? It's the wrong tool for the job. So by allocating the correct data type, Tableau can read and process that field of data correctly so you can get the visualization you want. In this video, we're going to talk about data types, and data types is very important for what we do, especially once you're getting into databases and all that. It's really good knowledge to have. In Tableau, there's really only six main types of data, right? So you got decimal numbers, right? Whole numbers, date and time, date on its own, strings. Strings is basically words, right? Sentences, all that, and then Boolean, true or false. Okay, so those are your top six, and then you have geographical roles, right? Things like postcode, state, country, region, all that kind of stuff. You have to choose from. In kind of other programs, there are way more data types, and that is because if, like, for example, you're thinking of servers, right, or massive data warehouses, the amount of space stored per data type is different. So for example, a number wholes or integer numbers may not take up as much space computationally as decimal numbers. For us, doesn't matter in the slightest, right? Because our data is actually relatively small. So even if you're thinking of maybe in the millions, that's actually still quite small, I would say, for big databases and warehouses. As soon as you get into warehouse, like really big data, you're talking like maybe not exabytes, but terabytes and terabytes of data sets. Like they're massive. I think if you downloaded like, I don't know, 500,000 rows of data, it's probably only a few megabytes. So you can kind of think of, well, how big is a terabyte of data? Well, it's massive. Okay. That's when you get into cloud systems. Anyways, I digress because I just love this stuff. So data types, what you want to do is make sure you have the right data type for the right field based on what you actually want to do with it. For example, if I scroll here to the right, you're going to see numbers. Okay, so we have numbers here. So the things that we do with numbers is like arithmetic, calculations, and in order to do that, those functions only work if the input is a number input. Right? So in our case, it's number decimal, number whole. So if for example this one was set to a string, okay, you can't do a calculation of it because Tableau just won't accept it. It doesn't work that way. So just make sure it's set to a decimal or a whole. However, converting from a string into a number, you gotta be careful and do a check because sometimes if, I don't know, and it just really depends on the data set and that it happens kind of, I wouldn't say randomly, but it's checked per data set, that sometimes it will block it out, right? It will kind of like make it disappear. Or it doesn't, I guess, happen all that much. And when it happens, it's probably a small thing, right? And I'm probably not going to go through exactly how to fix it just yet because I haven't got a working example. But maybe later on in the course, if I think of something, I'll kind of bring it up. For now, we don't really have to worry about it. We just have to make sure this is set to number. I typically always set it to decimal, always. Simply because, well, I don't know if I have higher precision in that particular field. So I always set it to number decimal. So there we have it. Okay, these ones are set to numbers, so we're okay, no issues there. Anything where it's a word, you'll see this kind of ABC symbol, which means it's a string. You have here date and time, and the difference between date and time and date is that you have time, so that when you have the granularity and you're going year, month, day, you can also go even further, which is hour, minutes, seconds. That is particularly useful if, like, for example, you're planning shifts, right? Shift work, or you're in high speed areas like stock market, or you're talking about like call centers or parts and logistics where you need to know hour by hour or minute by minute what is going on, right? So that's where date and time comes in really handy. And then you have Boolean, again, true or false. We haven't got that in this data set, so nothing to worry about. But we do have the regional data set, which is this one. So we have a postcode here, and we can actually convert this one to a zip code slash postcode. So let's go ahead and do that. And that lets us do geographical visualizations later on. It makes it so much easier. Here, we're not going to do it just yet, even though it is a state. And that is because we want to clean up the data first. And then here you have metro regional. I think it's actually metro rural. Metro regional, it is right. And then you have identifier. So that is basically your data types, and all kind of looks good. So let's leave it at that for this video, and I'll see you at the next one.